Yo, how's it going? So we're now on day 8, and day 8 is about we've now created a goal yesterday, and we've got a clear idea of the goal setting side of things for the 4-step process that went through. We're now going to do that with projects, so we're going to turn goals into actionable projects, right? So the first thing is that I've got an acronym again. You know, me and these acronyms and these frameworks and everything, it seems to be quite an obsession, but basically it just helps me to gamify this journey, right? So we're looking at this ADHD project acronym that makes it very simple to see how I deal with projects and how I get them complete. So every project that I work on has activities, right? An activity type even. There's many ways you could look at this. So I just want it to be that whatever's more flexible for you, you could do it from both angles, right? But there's an activity type or there's activities, right? And I see all these activities as projects, right? Now, every project, so A for activity, D for dominoes, H for honor, D for the date or the due date, whatever you want to call it. Like it basically comes down to you have an activity type, and I'm seeing all of these activities as projects, and I'm going to go into what type of projects you can be doing. And then there's dominoes. You're breaking up this project into smaller chunks, so tiny little dominoes that you can knock over, of course, and every time you knock them over, it knocks over the next one, right? So you've got a clear idea of how to progress on the project, right? Honoring the project is important because, of course, what we do is that we start something and we don't finish it. It's about honoring a project and like, yep, that this is a project I'm going to follow through on. And once it's complete, then I can move on to the next thing. It's really good to do that because you don't want this like in the back of your mind, like, oh, I didn't finish that other project. Or there's a lot of stuff that's just in our life where it's just unfinished and it just makes us forgetful because we've just got too much on our plate, right? So we just want to honor one project at a time, right? And there's obviously a due date or a start date, due date, any form of date that just makes this a reality, right? You need to put it somewhere. You need to put it in a calendar, right? Or in um your checklist. So activities. The concept is that every project is made up of activities. That's another way of looking at this, right? So you've got a project and there's a bunch of activities inside of it, right? And those activities are basically dominoes, right? But those activities make things smaller. You even just have activities, and then those activities have dominoes inside of them, right? There's many ways of looking at this. Whatever makes it easier for you to just make it more digestible is what you do. For example, my goal might be to improve a certain skill set, right? And that skill set is through a book. So the project to be to read a specific book that's going to help me with that skill set, right? And then the activities will be what is the activity I'm going to do to make that happen. It might be that the activity will be to read for 10 minutes, right? That might be the activity. And the activity, like how you want to kind of see the activity is that it's kind of like you know that the goal's been complete. So if I do 10 minutes of this book, that means the activity is complete. It's a completion. And you have these dominoes inside of it, right? So the dominoes will be read one chapter of the book, right? It might be read one page. So like you just kind of got to break it up into smaller chunks and you just get to choose how you do that. But this is the concept that I use to make it easier for me to just not get overwhelmed, right? And the whole activities. Now with dominoes, of course, these are just completed activities that you tip over and you tip over the next domino. Like this is kind of what's happening for me as I'm starting a project. Like for example, I've got this challenge. The goal was to create a challenge. Now the project is the obviously the course that I'm pulling from, and now I've created these slides or I've created these videos. Like there's lots of dominoes that are taking place to create this product. So our project will be one of the lessons that I'm doing, right? But what's the dominoes? Well, the dominoes is that I've got to record this. After I record it, I then got to publish it, and then after I publish it, I've got the slides. I've got to add them to the post, and there's all these little dominoes that make this a complete project. But the project is today to get this one out, right? But the goal is to keep this challenge going, right? So you can see this in many ways, and you can break up in any way you want, right? But the challenge is a project. The dominoes are each of the lessons that I'm sharing or each of the days that I'm sharing. But a better way for me to look at this is the days itself. So like this is day 8, right? And that's a project. And then there's dominoes that allow me to finish this project and have it be a completion. How has it become a completion? It's as soon as I post it in the school community, right? So honoring the project, right? So, kind of don't want to be saying we're going to do a challenge and then all of a sudden like, where's that challenge gone? Like it's like, like it's not, yeah, like I want to kind of honor the commitment that I've created, right? So I've made a commitment to creating a challenge that can make people a lot more. um I want people to take more action in the community because I'm finding that everyone's coming and then they know they have something that they're working on, but no one's talking about it. So obviously not talking about it because either they're doing it or they're avoiding it. But I want to encourage them to talk about whether they're doing it or avoiding it. Either way, I want them to just kind of just, yeah, do you know what? I'm overwhelmed right now. I just kind of want something that everyone could do together, right? So that's the commitment I've made, is that I want people to do this together. I want them to have an opportunity to do it together, even though the course is a standalone course that you could do self-paced. That doesn't really motivate some people. They need it to be done in group setting, right? And that's what obviously this challenge has done now, is it's helped people to do the challenge together, so they hold each other accountable. And you want to resist project hopping. So like when we do when I say project hopping, it's like I'm doing this. It's like once this is done, this complete, and this package is done. It's like this is done, and I don't have to worry about this anymore. And then like yeah, there's other things I need to do today. I need to do posting on IG. These are types of projects, like mini projects as well. There's client calls. These are projects as well, right? There's many different projects, but I'm doing one thing at a time, and I'm just focusing on that project as I'm doing it, and it's done. It's out the way. Next project or next thing that I need to work on, right? So jumping between one project from another, and that like just say I'm going to do this, and then now, do you know, like in between this, I'm going to do this. Like it just is. It's just not going to be as effective as if you just see one through and just have it done and then have it ticked off, like that's done, and then move on, right? So I've noticed that task switching has really been an impact on my productivity, or just like on my energy in general. So, ADHD brains love novelty, but jumping between projects leaves everything unfinished. And when it's unfinished, you just feel really just like, oh man, like you just don't feel good in yourself, right? So obviously that then it triggers a pendulum, right? That you don't want to be triggering this one, right? Because this one, once that one's swinging, it's really hard to stop it from swinging, right? So I mentioned to you obviously in awareness about these pendulums. They really play a huge part in just everything we're going to do on the day to day. And you just got to honor like which pendulums are you honoring right now, right? So stay the course, right? You're staying the course until the final domino is down. When I press the submit button and this is posted, that is this done, right? So it's important. And then obviously the due date, like the due dates matter, right? I really feel like just saying, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it like next week, and like that is too vague. Like you need to be very intentional about when do you want this to happen? Like when do you want this to be complete? When do you want this to be done? Like set these deadlines, and like the self-imposed deadlines. The best way to deal with them that I've always mentioned is to give yourself like just look at your next 24 hours and just look what you can do in those next 24 hours in terms of what is doable with the slots that you have, and just really just pick a slot where that thing could be in. I look at my day and I'm like, okay, so there's a 7 to 8 available. There's 7 to 8 available. I'm gonna put this there, right? And when you honor that slot, it just makes it easy for you to do it. Where if I say I'll just do it later, something's gonna get in the way, and that 7 to 8, something's gonna happen where I don't end up getting to do it, and then at the end of the day, I feel defeated because I didn't get to do it. And like if you pull it in a slot and you say that this is the slot designated for that, and then it just makes it more easy for you to say no to things where someone else is like, oh, do you want to go out for a drink? It's like, well, I've kind of committed to this slot now. I want to make sure this is done. Yeah, I'll come out after. I have a drink with you after I've done this, right? So examples of a project I would say is like a book, like I mentioned, finishing a course, for example, where you could just break them up into modules or lessons. The book could be into chapters, right? And a YouTube series will be, like you scripting, filming, editing, uploading, like that'd be obviously your process of the dominoes, but then the project is the YouTube series, and then there's carousels. It's the same thing for me where I do carousels, these slides, what I'm doing here. This is a part of the dominoes, right? From the project. So yeah, there's many ways to look at it, and then seeing everything as a project, like I said, is like identifying the steps, specifically like if there's multiple activities or stages in the process, and that you identify that as a project, right? And then you've got a finish line, like when do you want that to be clearly done, right? When is it very clear that that's a completion, right? And then of course you're just using this acronym that I've used as a framework to just help you with that process. So your challenge is to pick one project, honor it, and let the due date drive you to finish this project, right? So you might have it that there's a project that you want to complete by Friday, and the window that you're giving yourself is until Friday, but you now need to look at, where all these dominoes are going to fit to make sure that this is done by Friday. So you need to look at your calendar now and just see, like, you're not just saying Friday for the sake of it and then waiting for Friday to come to now decide that. Kind of look at, I mean, how much time do you want to put towards this to make sure that it's a smooth finish, right? So, so let's apply this. Like, just all I want you to do is just choose your project. Like, what is the project that you're working on and that you want to honor? Like the one thing. Obviously, there's many projects, but just choose one, right? List the activities that breaks it down, and you don't have to go like to 100, like a list of 100. Like, it could just be the first few things that you need to do, activities that are related to this project, right? It might just even be one, and then line up the dominoes, 2 or 3 dominoes that are just going to move the needle forward. Like, what's the first few actual steps or dominoes that you're going to do to be able to honor it, and when do you want to finish that by? And yeah, just put it in the comments of the community. So obviously, anyone that's new here, I do have a community. There's a link in the description where you can actually do this challenge with us. I'm looking to do this every month, but I'm just seeing how this challenge goes to see if I will do this on a monthly basis. And there's the course in there as well. You can do it self-paced, and there's obviously a community of 4.1k members in there that some are active, some are not. But of course, you've got access to members who are actively trying to improve their relationship with ADHD and finish what they start. So if that's something of interest to you, of course, you know where to go. Link in the description. Anyway, take care. Peace.